I felt excited about the opportunity to do it and to playing a character that I loved so much with people that I loved so much. It was so much fun.
Lena's work has a real message to it. I think that's why people really respond to it, because it's very smart and witty, but you don't feel like you're being preached at. And I think that's because you find yourself laughing.
Lena, I gotta say to you, it's weird. I look back at movies about young adults and finding their way. I don't remember seeing one quite like this. Where did you discover this book?
So much. I discovered this book on the new paperback releases section in the kids book section in Barnes and Noble in 1996. I literally was there, like the book was sitting on the shelf. I was 10. I thought, this looks great. My father bought it for me. I basically read it in one sitting. And from there on, it was my favorite book, like throughout my entire sort of young adulthood. When I was Birdie's age, this was my favorite book. And so when it became possible for me to actually option a piece of material and someone said, I said, what does optioning something mean? And they said, well, what's your favorite book? And I said, it's Catherine Called Birdie. And that was sort of how this journey started. And then it was a while between, it was almost 10 years between then and actually filming the movie. So definitely was a journey of love and commitment. But when I met Bella and we were in the process of putting the movie together, I went, well, now this movie really has to get made because there's Birdie and we need to get it made before she's 35. Thanks. Should I outfit is Brit? I don't know. I think you might surprise us all and be like 5'11". We just can't know.
Where is the Lady Catherine? I've come here to propose marriage.
A man has come and asked for me by name. You cannot mean Our Lady Catherine. She's a vile creature.
Some say she has a third ear.
She does.
Have you seen this third ear?
I've seen it.
Where?
Back of her neck.
I really loved this performance a lot. It's a very delicate balance of finding the kind of quirkiness of a father and just him being kind of a jerk. How did you approach this guy and finding the connection with your daughter?
Yeah. Well, I think you kind of have to be a little bit unafraid that at the beginning people just think you're terrible character, and then hopefully you get to know him a little bit better as the story goes on. But that's down to the writing and a kind of feeling of confidence that you're going to get to a place where you understand at least the character a little bit better, and it's to understand that he's a vulnerable guy in his own right. He's into the finer things in life. He's a vulnerable guy in the sense that he doesn't fit into the kind of macho society that he was surrounded by, and so in that sense he's sort of trapped a little bit like his own daughter, and the challenge was to try and make it obvious that he still loves his daughter, but he just can't really express it in the way that he may want.
It's close to my face.
You have wings. You must learn how to harness them.
You don't get to decide who we are, where we go, or how much we cost. Like we're just things. We're not things. We're people. And we can think, and we can hear, and we can feel.
Yeah, honestly, Bella, I was so moved by it. This is a really wonderful performance. Like there's a lot of depth here, and obviously you're older now. But looking back, what did you learn most from this experience?
Well, it was my first time leading a film, and I was 17.
Yeah, you just turned 17 and a quarter or something.
Yeah, 17 and something. And it felt like sort of this cool responsibility, but one that I was totally ready for and supported on all sides by fantastic people. So I felt excited about the opportunity to do it and to playing a character that I loved so much with people that I loved so much. It was so much fun, and it was hard work, and I think we all finished and wrapped the shoot like feeling like, wow, we did that, because there was several times we were like, this isn't going to happen because of like COVID and other obstacles that got in our way. It was but we did it. We made it.
And I have to say that Bella, well, it was her first time leading a film, you would never have known, because there's the level of commitment and professionalism upped our game every single day and just made us want to show up. Like, you can't be, lackadaisical when someone is just bringing so much humor and heart and hard work to something.
Well, I think it's also the script, Lena. This is a script I think a lot of young people are going to really respond to. And because I don't think, like, again, we haven't seen anything like this. What was the most difficult process of kind of translating it onto page from the book?
Thank you so much for all your words. I also have to say I'm obsessed with your background and all your film memorabilia. And I want to come right over, knock on your door, and look at everything you have there.
You are welcome anytime, by the way.
The film nerd in me is freaking out. But I think that the most challenging thing and the most exciting thing was preserving Birdie's voice, which comes from Karen Cushman, the author of the book, who's become a dear friend. And, she created a character that was so fully formed for me that I just didn't want to lose there, and comes to be so alive over the course of, 200 pages, that I didn't want to lose any of that. But at the same time, knowing that it won't all translate to a cinematic version. And so it's that moment of wondering, okay, have I picked and chosen the right moments? Have I placed the right bits of Birdie here? And ultimately, I had to recognize that she was so deeply, the benefit of having been reading the book over and over since I was 10 is she was so deeply embedded in me that she was like any character you love and are committed to. It's like how I can say every line of Clueless. It's like, that's how I feel about Birdie. And so
trust yourself.
Yeah, so you have to trust yourself. And then once Bella was involved, it was like Birdie took on this whole other life.
You were both delightful. It was such a pleasure meeting both of you.
Thank you so much.
I am, thank the Lord, very cunning. Most girls are, though we're not giving due credit for it.
I do think she's come down with something. She's got a little bit of. I think there's a little bit of pox going around the village.
Pox.
Oh. No, I mean it's not around the village.
Oh, we best.
No, you don't need to go.
It's not a big pox.
It's a small pox. It's not small pox.
It's a big pox.
It's only a small. Joe, you're just so good at these roles. You fit right into this kind of environment. How did you get involved, and what was your take on this character?
Well, thank you. I spoke to Lena a few years ago about it, actually pre-pandemic, when it was initially meant to be shot. And she'd been working on it for a while because she read the book many years ago when she was 10 and had wanted to make it into a film for years and years and years. And so she just was typing away and said, there's a character of George. Would you be interested in playing him? And so I read it and thought it was just a very special script, kind of medieval coming of age story with the Lena Dunham signature. Was unlike anything I'd read, and had a wonderful array of characters. And speaking about George, it was just that really lovely, recognizable relationship of someone younger, hero worshipping someone older, and not quite realizing that at the end of the day, they're as human and messy as everyone else. And that kind of tender, heartbreaking realization that they're not all that you thought they were. They're not a knight in shining armor at the end of the day.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head with Lena Dunham's work. It's like she exposes the inadequacies of the human condition rather well in a really brilliant way. What is she like to work with as a director? What made it so special for you both? Let's go back to you, Andrew.
Well, I think that's it. Comedy is so undervalued in that sense, and I think a lot of Lena's work has a real message to it. I think that's why people really respond to it, because it's very smart and witty, but you don't feel like you're being preached at. And I think that's because you find yourself laughing, and she understands that people have their own sort of arrogance or dignity about themselves. It's sort of absurd in some ways. So she's a real humanist in that sense, and as a filmmaker on the set, she understands comedy like nobody else, but she's really genuinely kind to everybody around her, and that makes for a wonderful set. And I think that's why people are responding to the film in the way that they have, because it's really Lena in a film. It's very cheeky and naughty, and there's a really lovely message in there, and people are really unexpectedly moved by it. I don't think she patronizes the character of Birdie in any way. I think she has real respect for young adults, and so she really remembers and is able to plug in what it was like to be someone who is has got all this energy and fire within them, but isn't quite ready to come out from the cage. So that's why I think it's so moving to see Birdie sort of figuratively fly away from the cage.
Yeah. Joe, what about you? I mean, what was so special about working with her? Because you seem to work really well with these directors.
It was all of those things that Andrew said, and on set, she's just incredibly, perhaps because she's also an actor herself, she kind of knows what is needed and what's wanted, and so she really does take care of you. And that's cast and crew and everyone around. She'll check in, make sure you're okay, not just on a day-to-day basis, but if you're doing a take, she will tell you what she likes and what's working. And it sounds simple, but often that isn't the case. And those kind of words of affirmation or steering go a long way, and she'll really create an environment where you feel relaxed. And so much of it is about just feeling relaxed so that you can do your job. And also she's just like incredibly funny and like smart and sharp, and having that kind of person at the helm on set and like march into these small towns in the north of England was very fun and funny to see.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny too to see a movie like this about a young adult that takes place in this time. That just doesn't happen ever.
No, absolutely. I think that's what makes it really original.
Yeah. Well, what's next for both of you, real quick? I know we got a few seconds left. What's next for you, Andrew?
Well, I've just finished making a movie called Strangers with Andrew Haigh, with Paul Mescal and Claire Foy and Jamie Bell, and I played Tom Ripley last year for Showtime, and that's going to come out next the first part of next year.
Can't wait.
Joe, we got to wrap, but anything you want to plug real quick?
I think I'm filming something towards the end of this year. Yeah.
Yeah, I got you. Guys, terrific talking to you. Excellent performances from both of you. Really loved it.
Thank you.
But for now, I am enough.